Aren't you afraid of offending people?
Yeah, but I'm okay with it as long as it's funny.
Are you going to do the Viagra bit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I actually thought of calling the whole show Stand Up and Deliver.
oh,
my gosh.
no.
Also, some of your references are pretty vague.
I'm okay with that as well. I actually like the idea of someone laughing at the delivery and then laughing again later after a consult with Google. Make me feel a little bit like Dennis Miller.
You could call the show Miller Time.
Ooh, that would have worked.
So, what's the name?
Triple Threat.
Oh, because you can act, sing, and dance?
Yeah, something like that.
Welcome to Victory Hall in Spring City, Utah. Not to be confused with Touchdown Theater. Just goes to show that the best name doesn't always win in a political campaign. It just doesn't happen. I actually used to live in Southern California, which was a little different. I'd say stuff like, so you're from Sanpete County. Isn't that like a really small county? No. It's actually, if you look, 50% larger than Orange County, California, with half the population of Disneyland. On a slow day. And then he says stuff like, so you're from Utah, so who do you support in the whole Holy War thing or whatever between BYU and Utah? I said, that's a great question. I actually support both schools. Yeah, my support for Brigham Young is consensual and my support for Utah is coerced. But I want them both to win. I really do. I want them both to win. Now, I actually live in a town just south of here, if you look on your map, called Ephraim. Yeah. Well representative, 9-minute drive. Yeah, good. Ephraim is actually an old Hebrew term, if you don't know this, that means Mormonville. I know that because to get to Mormonville, you go south from Salt Lake City, through Lehi City, through Nephi City, and through Moroni City, all of whom are Book of Mormon characters. Now, if you go the wrong way, you'll hit cities like Fillmore, Beaver, St. George. You're basically on your way to Las Vegas. I'm not saying you're on the wrong road if you're going to Vegas. But if you are on the Fillmore Beaver corridor, you could pick up one of those t-shirts that say, I heart Beaver. And then if you are on the wrong road, you'll be much more popular when you hit Las Vegas. Now, Ephraim is a town of great historical significance. You might not know this. Above the mountains of Ephraim is an ancient rock pillar that has a plaque. The plaque reads, on this spot in 1897, nothing happened. Now, I didn't write that. It's true. You can go to my website right now, brettblackham.com, and look at a picture that I took of it. So that's black ham, like you charred the bacon, and Brett, 2 T's, no N, which has been a great name for me, because as it turns out, I love TTs. Ephraim is an interesting town when you are going to bury a loved one, because there is no mortuary. We do have Carl the taxidermist. He's always like, look, I ain't licensed, but I'll help you out for cheap. Do you want Grandpa to smile or to squint at the horizon like Barack Obama? I don't know, let's go with the squint, that's fine. Okay, the squint. Oh, and don't forget to call me before April 15th next year to get them taxes filed. Hashtag Ephraim taxidermy. So shameless plug there. Now, Ephraim is a religious town. It's a small Mormon village, and I'm a part of that religion. And so on occasion, I'll be in a church meeting, and someone will stand and say, brothers and sisters, we are under attack for the things we hold sacred. And I feel it's my civic duty to raise my hand and say, I'm sorry, Sister Jones. No, we're not. We're simply mocked. And that is fantastic. Because in the United States, we roast out of love. Comes from a good place. You guys know the kind of person I'm talking about, right? Y'all's Mormons? That means you ain't never tied one on. So you've got no idea what it's like to take on the privilege of drinking all night and waking up on a park bench with no idea where your pants are. I bet you got more than one wife as well. That's funny. I won't even commit to one chick, but y'all are living the musical, 7 brides for every brother. Now that guy's not attacking me. That's love. I know, because sometimes I do the same thing with other religions. For example, the Nation of Islam. I love them. But they have this line of doctrine that says, none of you is a true believer unless you wish for your neighbor what you wish for yourself. Well, that's great. And it kind of explains the suicide bombing. But it does not explain why I use a Russian accent to tell the story. I don't know why I do that. I mean, maybe I picked it up from that old cult classic movie, Habib Does Moscow. And I could change the accent and try something different. You know, I am a true believer too, man. Have you seen my neighbor Paco's daughter? He's so sad. I just hope she does not get pregnant, at least until after the quinceañera. But if she does, it's not all bad. It's okay. Because then her new baby would get a sibling. Welcome inside my head. Here's another one. Fellow Christians. I love them. But some of them believe that baptism doesn't matter for salvation. They believe it's irrelevant, which is fine. I'm pretty libertarian in my heart. Believe whatever you want, as long as your book says love God and love your neighbor. Go nuts. But if you believe baptism is irrelevant, but you still call yourself a Baptist, that's kind of like owning a vegan restaurant and going all week without selling any animal products whatsoever. But on the weekends, steak and egg special. Yes, I'd like my steak prepared rare, please. Oh no, medium is as far as we go. We are vegan restaurants after all. All right, medium then. Let's see, I'll have scrambled eggs on the side, and the lady and I will have 2 glasses of your finest chocolate milk. And is the steak baptized in sauce? No. However, if you close your eyes and click your heels together 3 times, you'll find that baptism doesn't really matter. Here's another one. The General Church of Rome. I love them. And I know it's a sacred experience for like 1 billion people on our planet when they elect a new pope. To the rest of us, it looks like you're blowing smoke out your chimney. And the reporting on site gets a little old, you know. Oh, we've been here for 25 days and there's still, oh, the white smoke has come. Now the world is totally popeful. Which is fine. I just wish one time purple smoke came out of the chimney. You know what that means, right? All you historians will remember. If purple smoke comes out of the papal conclave, it means there's been a cardinal sin. And the new pope would be Jimi Hendrix, who wrote Purple Haze. Now, I understand. I mean, he's a black, left-handed guitar player, and that would never work. He could never be the pope. There's just too much bigotry in the world against lefty guitar players. So his most natural alternate would have to be Keith Richards, guitar player for the Rolling Stones. If Keith was elected the new pope, that would probably be the best press conference in the history of planet Earth. Me come out on stage and go, right, stand by for some policy changes, yeah? My name's Keith. I used to play with Mick, and I am the new papal conclave. I'm sorry, what? It's on sideways. Is that better? You know what? I don't like the hat. I think it makes me look like a big phallus head. Yeah. Give it to one of the groupies. No, I'm not going to wear the cross either, because it's an instrument of death and torture. Look, I don't have a Derringer pistol in my pocket to remember Abraham Lincoln, and I don't have an at-home guillotine to recall good times with Louis and Marie. We'll talk about this later. All right, my people, I just want everyone to know that I intend to keep my campaign promise of building out extra space on every chapel in the world for a hookah lounge. Just know it's going to happen, and it's going to be smoking. Next thing, who gets my refills? Is that you? All right. Cheers, mate. Oh, and can you get some of the little Cubans, for the after party? All right. Rock and Rome. Next thing, popes like to talk about economics, so I'll opine as well. There's a gap growing between rich and poor, which is impossible to stop. And it's very simple. It's all elementary, really. Math says that the rich will keep getting richer. And biology says that the poor will keep getting busy. So to try to help the poor ones, we're going to take our policy on contraception, pull it off, wrap it in toilet tissue, and flush it down the loo. Now that's what you call repentance. Because for years we've been saying, do not use contraception. Do not use contraception. Do not use... Look at all the poverty in predominantly Catholic communities. This is madness. You would have to be a delusional wanker to blame that on capitalism. Now, if you are a delusional wanker, don't feel bad. It's very simple. Just go home, get your Google machine out, delete your browsing history, and then search any news article in the world containing the word Venezuela. Except maybe the sporting articles, because this year the football team's not too bad. And to make it simple for you wankers out there, capitalism it's very simple. It's just free trade. It's person A trading with person B, and both parties profit. It's like consensual intercourse. Socialism's more like rape. Except it's worse than that. It's person A and person B deciding to double team person C, and then they send the guys with the guns to person D, E, and F's house to make them pay for it. Now, I understand every government needs to do that a little bit, but if you do it too much, you're just going to get a totalitarian state with mounds and mounds of starving and dead people. Now, I can hear what some of you are thinking. Well, at least in Venezuela, they get free health care. Yes, which is nice. There's no medicine or bandages. And lots of the year, there's no toilet paper or tampons either. But you're right, the doctors are all lovely people, and they're really happy to treat you once they get back from the breadline. The point is, we as a church are a little slow on the uptick. I mean, it took us until 1992 to concede that the earth revolves around the sun. Yeah, Galileo was right. It took us a while, but we're on with it. So if you think about it, until 92, Earth's orbit was in limbo. Or purgatory. Whichever one is still the doctrine. And we might even change that moving forward. The last thing I want to say, these priests doing the nasty with the little boys. I am sorry, we're going to crucify them. Look in your history books. That's how Rome does it. And if you think about it, if crucifixion was good enough for the Apostle Peter and Jesus and Spartacus 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 and Spartacus, if crucifixion was good enough for those lot, then it's good enough for a pedophile priest. So we're going to nail them buggers up to a tree, and that will be the end of it. Now, some of you may feel bad. I understand. If you do, just go home and do like 3 Our Fathers and 9 Bloody Marys. And all will be forgotten. Those are my notes. Rome wins. Now, which one of you lot helps me find my pants? Is that you too? All right, cheers, mate. Keith Richards as the Pope, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I told that bit to a friend of mine once, and he said, yeah, they're funny, but you've obviously held back in roasting other religions. I'm like, hey, that's true. Well, come on, I didn't want to be the reason that some Buddhist sets himself on fire. Did you hear what he said? That'd be horrible. I didn't want to be the reason for the increase in Amish-related DUI citations. I didn't want that. No. Ishmael, the hell is this? I told you. I don't care what he said. I told you to stop dipping in the cider. Yeah, whenever you get inebriated, you always do the fishtailing in the wagon. Stop that crap. Didn't want that. And honestly, whenever I talk about the most dangerous religion out there, I get afraid. I don't want to incur any terrorism into the lives of my friends and family, so yeah, I pull punches big time when I talk about the church of political correctness. And I understand, that is a two-sided coin. On the one hand, I've never seen a religion that wants to use governmental violence to implement every aspect of their ideology. Very scary. And on the other hand, I'm kind of with them. I wish that the facts cared more about their feelings. But they don't. So I fear. And I finished talking and my friend says, all right, but how about a Jewish joke? That could work. But I still have a mortgage balance. I don't want to offend the wrong people. And while we're on the subject of offense, everyone take a deep breath. We're just having fun here. It's a comedy show. And I need everyone to understand that I in no way mean any offense at all to Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. I actually love music. It's a big part of my life. And I'm impressed at how inspirational it can be. We all remember the song, we're rascals, we're scoundrels, we're villains, we're knaves, drink up, me hearties, yo-ho. We're devils, we're black sheep, we're really bad eggs, drink up, me hearties, yo-ho. Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. Very inspirational song. I mean, you have the theme park ride, the very popular movie series, and that song also inspired most people who attend law school. And music can change entire cultures, just all by itself. Remember the Macarena? YMCA? Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back? If you don't know that one, it was on Shrek, remember? Yeah. I like big butts and I cannot lie. In other words, I can't deny. When a girl walks in with a nitty-bitty waist and a round... well, the point is, before 1992 when that song came out, you could never get away with lyrics openly praising the female posterior. Especially one larger than average. Now we get a song like that every year. Just change the culture, you know? When I was in my 20s, I was a drummer for a band that was a pretty big deal. We gigged all over the place. And it was kind of awesome. It had pros and cons to that lifestyle. On the one hand, I loved it when we played. The groupies would dance and sing, and the audience would cheer and roar. And on the other hand, I didn't like wearing the hat to march in the football games. Pros and cons, you know? Now, when I was in that band, my parents were very, very supportive of me. They're great. They're here tonight. But they have different love languages, different support styles. My mom is more of a time spender, so she came to every game she could and cheered along. My father's more verbal, so he would say things like, "You're wasting your damn time with this band shit." Different support styles, like I said. I'll take a drink. You need a minute. On one rehearsal, I tell you that story to tell you this one. At one rehearsal, Dr. V pulled the chart, "Bang the Drum All Day" by Todd Rundgren. Now, if you've never heard it, it's not a super well-known song, but if you've never heard it, the first two lyrics of the chorus tell the story. And they might, if you tear up, I understand, they might be the most beautiful lyrics ever penned by human hands. Sorry. I don't want to work. I want to bang on the drum all day. I don't want to play. I just want to bang on the drum all day. It's auditory cocaine right there. Oh, bang the drum all day. So I floated out of rehearsal, high on life, and then I was rudely brought back into reality by a cell phone call from my bishop. Now, I should explain. If you're not in my tribe, many of you are, I'm sure, but if you're not, I'll explain. The bishop is the local congregational leader in my church. He's kind of like the priest or the rabbi or the bartender, depending on the church you attend. I just love that idea of a bartender running a church. Who's going to say it? I'll say it. We'd like to thank you for this last call. And for the buzz we felt here today. Please help us travel home in safety. And bless that all of our overshares will be forgotten. Amen. Now, I told that joke to my comedy test group, and they didn't know what overshares meant. I thought, man, I need to get someone else in this comedy test group besides my mom and 17-year-old brother. Okay. Mom, here's an example of an overshare. So last year, for our tax return, my wife and I got like $4,000. So we went to Las Vegas and gambled like $9,000 on prostitution. I yelled blackjack at the end. They don't like that. Don't do that. And I saw the footage. I thought we were splitting tens. They were like fives. They stole our money. So yeah, Mom, that's an example of an overshare. Sorry. Point is, I was rudely brought back into reality by a cell phone call by my bishop. I was his secretary at the time, and I pick up the phone and he says, "You, Carol, 7, click." I mean, he was a very orthodox believer. I don't even think he believed in the use of verbs. So I gathered as his secretary that he either wanted me to go to the girls' dorms, find Carol, and book an appointment with her for that night in his office, or he was on a game show and totally blew one of his lifelines. So I assumed the former and sauntered over to the dorms, you know. I don't want to work, I want to bang on the drum all day. So the door opens, and 7 girls are on site, and they all shout in unison, "Muffin!" You know, short for stud muffin. Or did they mean muffin top? Oh, I guess sometimes college makes more sense in hindsight. Anyway, so I say, "Hey, I need to talk to Carol. Is she here?" And the leader says, "No, she went to a lab. She'll be gone a couple of hours. It would be a better use of your time if you just came back later." And I agreed with that reasoning, but I hung out for a couple of hours. I mentioned there were 7 girls on site, right? 3 of them were so hot, they would almost make you forget your last name. So we were there hanging out, chilling, and one of the girls says, "While you're here, you should write something on our whiteboard." Is that what they're calling it now? And rather than explain it to the slow drummer, they pulled back the curtain to this whiteboard. It was about 4 feet tall by 6 feet wide, and I guess it was a way to measure the lads that came to visit. So they have these little sayings, and so I read one of them. Jeff says, "A diplomat is someone who can tell you to go to hell in such a way that you look forward to the trip." That's funny, but I know Jeff. We share an algebra class together, and he can't make it an entire lecture without his finger going in his nose. Pretty sure he plagiarized that. And while we're on the subject, I think I'm going to pass on the whole whiteboard phallus measuring activity. And then the leader says, "Well, why don't you just write the first thing that comes to your mind?" Is that legal? And she says, "I don't know, but I think ignorance of the law is always a good excuse." So she handed me the pen. No, it's been explained to me, ignorance is not a good excuse. You will still get a ticket or go to jail unless your last name's Clinton. Then they'll talk, you know, this is fine. So I took the pen. She was pre-law. We'll go easy on her. She's pre-law. She didn't quite know. So I started writing the first thing that came to my mind, and in the middle of the first sentence, Carol came home. Excellent. Efficiency achieved. So I left them for a minute, pulled Carol out in the hallway, did my best Bishop impression. "You, Bishop, 7? Excellent." So we booked the appointment, she left, and I go back to the room, and the girls are laughing at me. And my first thought as a 23-year-old kid is, oh man, the gate's open, cows are out, and they know my secret. They did a quick belt buckle audit. Gate was secure. So then I was confident enough to ask, "What's so funny?" They did not answer. They just pointed at the whiteboard. So picture this. There I am in their dorm as a representative from church in my shirt and tie. And I just wrote on their whiteboard, "Brett says, I don't want to work, I just want to bang." That's not what I meant. I mean, I was male over the age of 13, so it was true, but it's not what I meant. And so the leader says, "Would you like to finish what you started?" Like, "Yeah, if you'll let me." So I took the pen and I finished the line. "Brett says, I don't want to work, I just want to bang. See you in church next Sunday." I should not have done that. I understand. But I'll have you know that for the rest of the semester, none of those girls missed church. Fellowshipping, I think is what they call that. And it was a twofer because 2 weeks later, I got a different church assignment. So you call the old win-win, I think, is it? Or maybe it just goes to show that sometimes funny is worth the wrong. Maybe. Now, I've been described as a triple threat performer. If you don't know what that means, it means I can act, I can sing, and I can stay asleep all night without taking drugs. Triple threat. Now, dancing, yes, I can dance. I just don't because not everyone can distinguish between dancing and epilepsy. I mean, there's always that do-gooder in the club, right? He's on the phone with 911. Yeah, I think we need paramedics right away. This guy's gonna swallow his tongue. Wait, hold on. He might be doing that on purpose. No, he definitely needs something. Hey, from this line, can you transfer me to an exorcist? That's what we're gonna need. Now, I would dance right now for you guys, but I don't want to wake up to a GoFundMe page. With a little gif of me attempting dance. Subcaption, donate now to find a cure. No. Yeah, I don't need that in my life. So I have found, as a performer, I dislike the casting process. It's kind of annoying. I mean, I hate the fact that I can outperform everyone in that room, and this other guy is chosen ahead of me because he fits the type better. That drives me nuts. I find a better makeup artist or something. I even got in the one casting director's face and said, dude, are you high right now? You said my performance was brilliant, and I am nowhere on this call sheet. And he says, yes, Mr. Blackham, your performance was brilliant. And yes, I'm a little stoned. But the reason I drive that green BMW in the parking lot is I have to choose the performer that looks the most like the character. And you don't look anything like Shaft. Or Miss February. But I will have you know that you were on the short list to play the quadriplegic Oompa Loompa. Keep trying. You'll get there someday. So I threw a little tantrum and I left. And when I was out in the parking lot, I see a green Mercedes with a flat tire. And I made the hard decision to stay and fix it for him. I let the air out of the other 3 tires, so the car stayed even. You're welcome. Did he say green BMW or green Mercedes? I don't remember. The point is, I'm always looking out for the other guy. Now, due to my geographical location in a bustling metropolis of 4,209 people, I mostly submit for online casting calls. And I remember one that was scripted just for me. I mean, I read it and it spoke to me. I'm like, I could play this character. I can do this. The outline was a 7th-year college junior that had mental health issues. I can play that part. Yeah. 7 years, still a junior, mental health issues. Okay. Woo! Did you see that? I snowboarded off the roof into a stack of beer cans shaped like the Leaning Tower of Pizza. And I know what you're thinking. We did talk to that Italian kid, Antonio, about the cultural appropriation of all that. He didn't know what the crap I was talking about, so we did it anyway. The best part, minimal cuts, no broken bones, and I did not spill my beer. I can play that part. So I cut the video and submitted it, and I didn't hear back for 1 day, 2 days, 4 months. Maybe these pinheads aren't going to call me. So I asked my brother Brigham, who's here, who's also in performance, to look at the video, and he says, yeah, dude, if you got cast in that part, you would nail that role. Older people go back to school all the time. Thanks for that. Did not write that, he did say that. So the pinheads never did call me. But that year, I think I got like 7 or 8 gigs to play Santa. Good enough, it's a check. And I do love the Santa role. It is fun. You think about the kids and everything, and I just wish I had started at a younger age, because I think I could have done some damage with that list of where all the naughty girls live. And I don't think I would, if I was Santa, I don't think I would do the coal. No, I would have got them something useful, like a bottle of baby oil and a webcam, you know? Something they can use. Now relax, that's just when I was younger. I'm more mature now. Yeah, I I think to myself, come on, ladies, it's not that hard to pull up your bootstraps, get out in the marketplace, and upgrade to an HD webcam. We're still in hyperbole, it's okay. Now, I understand there are naughty kids out there, and they deserve the coal. You know, these little brats that don't even need to take classes on how to do Satan's bidding. They just have it naturally. God bless you. And I would be happy to deliver coal to those homes. I would, go in the house, eat all the cookies, do the milk chaser, and then jiggle out of there after I set the coal on fire. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. But I think at times we all dream of doing God's work. I think we do. I treat the Santa job like a giant improv game. I explore different dialects, like Scottish Santa. Merry friggin' Christmas! I'll get back on the nice list, you little haggis breath. Piece of shite. Or the Indian Santa. Here is your mother's copy of the Kama Sutra. I'm sorry, it is a Christian nation. Okay, so you believe in God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Cow. Or one of my favorites, the New York Santa. All right, Merry Christmas, Merry friggin' Christmas, Hey, get over here. When you get home, you're gonna schlep those groceries for your mom, right? Hey, don't you ever disrespect your mother. You understand me? Look at those boots. What color are those boots, huh? Flat brown. You know what color they used to be? Shiny black. Here's your candy cane. Get out of here. That one's popular. Typically, I use the English grandpa sounding accent. It just seems to fit the character the best, Merry Christmas! How are you doing this year? You're being such a good lad. Thank you so much. Stay on the nice list for Santa. It just seems to fit. But at the end of one gig, it was really slow. 3-hour job, 10 minutes left, so I just kind of switched to the Scottish Santa. Kid and his dad come in and hey, Merry Christmas! Santa, where he's from, usually wears a kilt. But down here in Utah, it's just too warm for them, so I wear the red pajamas. The kid's just sitting on my lap going. So I turn to his father and say, he doesn't say much. He's not damaged, is he? And the dad goes, no. He just wanted a candy cane for his sister also. We were in here earlier. Of course you were, young man. There you go, such a caring soul. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And then they left to have their awkward drive home. Yeah, son. Sometimes Santa goes off his meds. It's really difficult for him when Mrs. Claus isn't with him. He gets confused. So it's a fun job. And one of my favorites is doing the job and someone walks in the grocery store and I say, oh, Joe, how are you? Merry Christmas. How are the children? And so Joe is thinking, oh, great. I know this guy, but I can't tell who he is. He's in disguise. Who's in my contact list who is also horrible at screening phone calls? Who is that? And they either figure it out or they don't and they move on, which is great. But if you're 2 hours away from home and you're called out by name from the grocery store Santa and you think you don't know anyone in this little village, you nearly skid mark your pants. I will never forget it. It was one of the best things a human could ever experience. So I'm sitting there toward the end of the gig again, and so I'm in a mood. And he walks in, and I go, oh, Spencer, nice to see you. Merry Christmas. And then he started to believe again. It's awesome. Awesome! Wet wipes are on aisle 7. Happy New Year! So I like the Santa job. That's good. And I used to question whether or not I was funny. Because sometimes you don't really know unless you tell a joke and you guys respond. And then I was cast to be an alternate performer for an improv troupe at the junior college for 2 semesters. I'm funny. And if I question any further, I just turn to my wife. She laughs at me all the time. Now, my wife and I have an amazing relationship. We came from 2 very different families. You know, like the Capulets and the Montagues. The difference between Romeo and Juliet, I guess, is that there was a point where we would have used the poison on her mom. And a few years later, her brother. But that's a... Now, it's not like I was as bad as Romeo. I waited all the way till she was 17 to marry her. Which was socially weird. For a while. But 6 months later, she turned 18. And ever since that day, when people find out our age difference, they just want to throw me a parade. Mr. Blackham, would you like the banner to go in the front or the marching band? Let's go with the marching band for sure. And can we put the drums in the front of the band the way the good Lord intended? And ask the director if they can cover a certain Sir Mix-a-Lot song. So yeah, I was 25 and she was 17. It was fun. And now we're just, I mean, she's amazing. And I am me. And it's just one of those things that just blows me away every day of my life. Hopefully you feel that way about your spouse. And I think it has something to do with birth order. I don't know if you've studied this, but she's the middle child of 7. So she's, you got the 3 older siblings, the 3 younger siblings, and she's the centerfold. I told that joke to my comedy test group. And my 17-year-old brother goes, "What's a centerfold?" Which almost floored my mother, who grabs my arm and says, "Did you hear that? My 17-year-old boy doesn't know what a centerfold is." Congratulations, Mom. Do you want to explain it to him, or should we have him Google it? I'll do it. Son, this story doesn't start in the beginning. It starts in the middle. So that was awkward. It's fine. So obviously, my wife's very good looking, very attractive, and when we're out together, on occasion, I'll be pulled aside by other guys. And they'll be like, "Dude, escort service, huh? Who'd you call?" "No, man, that's my wife." "What? How long have you practiced voodoo?" "Seriously, she's a 10 and you're okay." I don't mean anything by it. You're just kind of a 7.5 to a 4. Depending on the angle. And he's right. The angle matters when you have a weak jawline. Larger than average head. But I do make up with it with a smaller than average neck. So this is the truth of life. And so sometimes I'll get feeling down on myself and just be blown away. Honey, why do you like me? So I'll come home and ask her. And she says, "Oh, I just love it when you sit down on the floor and play blocks with our little boys." Good. But let me rephrase. Is there anything about me that makes you want to club me and drag me back to your cave by my hair? And she thought about it for a second and said, "Yes, there is. It really gets me going. When you roll up the sleeves of your business shirt, get that twinkle in your eye, and aggressively wash the dishes. Oh yeah, baby. Okay, nice clothes, dishes, got it. Anything else? She says, yes. I love it when you park backwards. Is that a euphemism? What are you talking about? She says, no, it's really hot when you back into a parking space. I just love it. Well, hold on to your hat, baby. Because next time I'm going to roll up the sleeves of my bishop. Bishop, why are you in the back seat? What's going on here? Don't let me hit the curb. Don't let me do that. I'm going to roll up the sleeves of my business shirt. Get that twinkle in my eye. And then we'll aggressively parallel park. So I'm very lucky. I'll offer you guys some help if you're like me, you're average-ish, and you would like to get a 10, you have to take certain measures to get that opportunity. And so I'll help you out. Step 1, learn to be a gentleman and always do it. And that's important. Ladies like to be treated like a lady. And remember the phrase, hold my beer and watch this. That only attracts 10s if you're worth north of $500 million. It's the truth. All right, step 2, learn to groom yourself and always smell delicious. An analogy would be Chris Hemsworth walks in here dressed in his Thor outfit, showing the guns, using his accent and all that stuff, and he could say, "This mortal form grows frustrated. Which one of you ladies would like to help Thor pick up his hammer?" Which is fine. But if he smells like Chewbacca's armpit, he's going to be bringing the thunder all by himself. You know? Now, step 3, this is important. Men offer their reproductive services and women filter. That's just a truth of biology. And so you're going to get shut down. Just keep going. But when you find the one that gives you any sort of attention, go for it. And for me, the one that gave me attention turned out to be one with perfect looks, an infectious personality, and catastrophically poor vision. She's asked me, "Honey, can we save up so I can get LASIK surgery so I don't have to wear contacts or glasses?" How about no? As it stands, I have a lot to offer a woman who's freakishly nearsighted. Now, I shouldn't be so mean to myself. I actually look really hot after a vigorous workout in Photoshop. I even have a thigh gap and everything. It's great. That's one of my favorites too. Thank you. We've been together a while, a decade at least, 12 years or something. We've been together a long time. And so she likes to talk. You could also call it interrogation. "Honey, would you ever cheat on me?" "No, I'd be too petrified." "What?" "Honey, absolutely not. But for the sake of the interrogation, let's say I did. What would you say?" I wouldn't say anything. I would definitely cut that hypothetical slut. Right after I chopped off your manhood. That's why I'm petrified, a little bit scared. And she goes, "Oh, come on, you'd be mad if I decided to leave you." I'm like, "Well, yeah. And if you left me for another man, it would threaten my self-worth. And my masculinity, might incentivize me to hit the gym more, and pay for some additional girth or something. And if you left me for another woman, I would just have to say, 'Sorry, honey, I can't do that for you.'" What I can do is offer you and your new girlfriend an opportunity. I also told that joke to my comedy test group. And my mom's the one that goes, "What opportunity? What are you talking about?" And after my 17-year-old brother got done laughing, I said, do you want to explain it to her, or should we have her Google it? I'll do it. Mom, this story doesn't start in the middle or the beginning. This one starts in France. There's a little thing called ménage à trois. And that was awkward too. So my mouth gets me in a lot of trouble. And you probably find that easy to believe now. But at least we have the children, so she can't leave. Locked in, baby. My most defining characteristic, I mean, you look at me and you know me, it's not that I can grow a chiseled goatee. And it's not that I can grow an unchiseled muffin top. It's that we have 3 children. No applause, that's good. Sometimes I get applause and I assume they've seen some of the footage. So you guys are good folks. And the footage isn't that bad, depending on the angle. The interesting part is we have 3 children, and we had them all before the oldest turned 3. That's the proper response. In college, they go, oh yeah, 3 children, that sounds great. Oh, that's better. So yeah, you think about it. 3 kids in 3 years, that's 1 goal per period. In hockey, they call that a hat trick. They reward you. And when you have 3 kids in that close proximity, your reward in life is just additional life lessons that you may or may not have got to learn. Now, the first life lesson I want to share is the very common one. Most women are very excited when they first become pregnant. Most women. There are some pregnancies that are due to Jägermeister and poor choices. And no parent wants to get that phone call. Yeah, Mom, it was during spring break on an unforgettable weekend that I can barely remember. I went to bed with Ryan Gosling and woke up next to Shrek. And the donkey. I know! I'm either going to have a hideous ogre or a loudmouth jackass. Those are the outliers. Most women very excited about that pregnancy, and my wife, pep rally excited. She even wore the mini skirt, the sweater, the pom-poms, the high heels, the fishnet socks. You know what? It's not important. Not important. She very excited about that first pregnancy. And a few months later, we had my firstborn son, Zach, and everything was great. And then another life lesson came along. Some people still believe that if you are breastfeeding, you can't become pregnant. Now, this is bullshit. I'm not confessing to believe that. It just took us 3 years to get the first pregnancy. 3 years to get the first pregnancy, so we didn't work too hard to put a cork in the bottle. So a few months later, my wife came out of the bathroom and spiked a pregnancy test off my forehead. And then she hugged me and broke down. It's like, I don't want to do it again. Oh, honey, it's going to be fine. Ow. We're going to be broke. But it's going to be fine. And then she looked at me with tear-filled eyes. I don't care if we're going to be broke. I care that I'm going to get fat. And a few months later, we had our second-born son, Jordan. And everything was great. And then another life lesson came along. Now, we learned our lesson from that second pregnancy. My wife got immediately on an oral contraceptive called the mini pill. The brand name is called Camilla. The point of this story is simple. The Camilla, the mini pill, it makes it so the breast milk isn't affected, so you don't get any hormone into the baby or the husband. And And at the same time, so you can breastfeed and you still have the cork in the bottle, which is something we wanted, which is good. The problem with Camilla is if you stop breastfeeding right now, breastfeeding. What's breastfeeding? I don't know. Maybe I should have you explain it to me instead of just Google it. Yeah, you Google, and then I'll have to delete my browsing history. My wife gets mad when I do that. Breastfeed. I'd probably be semi-pro. I don't know. I could be good at it. I spilled the water. Good. All right. Where was I? If you stop breastfeeding right now and you're on the oral contraceptive Camilla, by next Sunday, if you don't switch to a full lead version of the contraceptive, you will be more fertile than the Octomom. And I must have been sleeping during that part of the lecture. Probably dreaming about breastfeeding or something. So a few months later, my wife came out of the bathroom again, and I had to dodge 2 pregnancy tests. And then she stood in the middle of the kitchen and pointed to the sky and did the best Zool impression from Ghostbusters I have ever heard. It better be a girl. And I testify to you that the heavens shook. And we did, in fact, conceive and bear a female. And although I lobbied for it, we didn't name her Camilla. That didn't work. Her name is Sadie. And she's my reason for living. She's awesome. And you are all glad that I had a little girl. Because if we got another batch of XY chromosomes on that day, the night of our ultrasound, you all would have turned on the news, and the anchor would have said something like, "Beautiful young mother from central Utah strangled God today." It's going to be argued as a crime of passion, maybe temporary possession by Gozer the Destructor. Either way, it's one of those stories you hate to report on as a news anchor. In other news, the Jazz still suck balls. They're bad. In musical terms, they swing like a bunch of square white Mormons. Maybe they'll change the name to the Utah Spaz. We don't know. They could keep the double Z thing. And for our headlining story tonight, adults in Utah now outpace the rest of planet Earth in the consumption of antidepressants. Which makes total sense to yours truly. It has nothing to do with our altitude, with our lack of school choice, with our predominant religion. No. It's our dog crap NBA team. The point is, news people are so callous, aren't they? When switching from story to talk about my jazz. I have complained and written jokes about having 3 kids in 3 years ever since it happened. But I haven't done too much recently because my wife's brother and his wife were just diagnosed last year with triplets. Yeah. And they already had 2 daughters under the age of 3. I tried to be understanding. I only laughed for 5 or 6 hours. And I thought to myself, what if they have 3 girls? They already have 2. There aren't enough bathrooms in the entire county. Oh man, what if they have 3 boys at the same time? There'll be nothing left of that house. Holy crap. I mean, I called him and said, Brent, If anyone asks you if you're a god, say yes. I think that's my last Ghostbuster reference. Sorry. You think about it. If 3 kids in 3 years is a hat trick, then 5 kids in 5 years is Yahtzee. I mean, they blew out of a mid-sized sedan into a back-page Megavan in one roll of the dice. The best response to the news of this horror was my oldest son's, Zach. I said, hey, buddy, Aunt Jessie's carrying 3 babies. What do you think about that? Uncle Brent's really strong. He should carry 1 or 2. No, buddy. She's pregnant. She's going to have 3 babies at one time. I didn't know 7-year-olds knew how to slow clap. That was awesome. So to make sure that was the best slow clap in the history of planet Earth, I picked up the phone and scheduled a vasectomy. Yes, Snip Snipper Doodle Clinic. Yeah, my name's Brett, and the next time I make sail, I would like to leave the crew at port. So now we have 3 babies, and we are swimming around in the, for lack of a better term, shitstorm of life. It's not always like that. Sometimes it's a puke storm. Depends on the virus, you know, that's coming through. And they are, the kids, I joke about it, but they are the best part of my day. I just adore them. And then they wake up. The train starts to slide sideways just a little bit. And I never know if I'm coming home from work, if I'm coming home to the best day in the life of Brett, or if my wife will be in the 3rd stage of demonic possession. I know it's time to call the priest when she's just legislating from the hip and she has that voice, you know. All right, from now on, everyone in this house has to sit down to pee. Even you. That's kind of emasculating. A small price to pay for dry ass cheeks at the same time. Okay, we'll sit. I came home from work one day, and the house was just trashed. And I could not tell, I honestly could not tell if all hell had broken loose or if my boys just found the gate to hell and let the demons out to start the apocalypse in my kitchen. So I started with the oldest, like, Zach, get in here. And he, hey, buddy, listen. This room is a disaster. What happened? He goes, that was an accident. An accident. There are individual eggs shattered and smeared from hell to breakfast. That was an accident? Yeah. I don't think you guys... Holy sheetrock, what happened to my wall? And he goes, what do you mean? Buddy, this morning the wall was perfect when I left. Now I can read the warning label on the insulation. Why can Daddy do this? Because you know English. Buddy, why is there a hole in the wall? He goes, oh, that was an accident. And at this point, I see the baby girl who's sitting in a dirty clothes hamper, smearing yogurt all over her naked self. Ugh. So I pick her up by the ankle, and she is nasty. And she's got dirt and hair and feathers, and we don't even have any pillows or animals with feathers. I bet it was an accident. So I took her to the sink, started spraying her off with the thing, and my second-born son, Jordan, comes in the room to test my sanity. Because that's his job. He starts tugging on my trousers. Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. Just a minute, boy, I'm cleaning your sister. Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. Just a minute, Jordan. Daddy, 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 Daddy. What? I love you. Ah! I love you too, boy, but you almost died right then. And now thanks to your accident-prone little brother, or older brother, their sizes are goofy. Your accident-prone older brother, thanks to him, we're going to be walking on eggshells all day. I just don't think you guys appreciate what you and your... Hey, speaking of walking on eggshells, where's your mom? I found their mother sitting on the lid of the toilet doing her best thinker pose. So I knocked on the door frame. Honey, how was your day? There is no honey, only Zool. You're not pregnant, are you? No. Sorry. No. Speaking to the mic. No. But I think I need 5 of me. 5's a lot. But I'm game to see if I can hack it. You want me to put some names together? I was actually thinking, and then she looked at me. How could you say something like that? Because it was an accident. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. How about I'll go start cleaning salsa off the walls, put my tuxedo on, start washing the dishes, and you can put the names list together. We'll call it the Blackham 5. Honey, I love you, but you almost died right then. I just really want my dishes done. And on that day, there was no breastfeeding. None. So the kids are a challenge. They're fun. They have questions for Daddy, a lot. And some of them are awkward to answer, and some of them are impossible to answer. But I'm the question answerer. That's what Dad means in Greek, I think. Like, Daddy? Yeah, bud. When you shower with Mom, do you see her private parts? No, buddy. Daddy can't see through his hands. Like it matters. My eyes are closed most of the time anyway. It doesn't. Here's another question. Daddy? Yes, buddy. What did God make after he made the giraffe? Well, probably the duck-billed platypus. He goes, okay, that works. What did he make before the giraffe? Probably the marijuana plant. Ow, what? She's like, don't do that. Okay, fine, you're right. Buddy, Mom is right. We don't know what he made before the giraffe. It could have been the opium poppy. Or the psychedelic mushroom. Ow, what? She says, they're just curious. Teach them something about religion. Fine. Boys, all right, come here. Where do we get the scriptures, the books of scripture? My second born goes, from the library? Yes. How about this one? Why are we reverent when we're in church? So we can play the iPad. Yes. But let Daddy rephrase. Why are we quiet when we're in church? So we don't wake up the bishop. You're right, go play. We'll try this again later. We were driving to Las Vegas a little while ago to visit family, and my second-born looks out the window and says, it was at nighttime, so he looks out the window and says, "Daddy, how come the stars don't twinkle here?" I don't know, pal. I guess it has something to do with the neon lights and everything that's in the city. In Las Vegas, the stars are usually drunk in a bar. Twinkle, twinkle, little... Anyway, another great question. Very difficult to answer. I was sitting at the computer working on something, and I recommend always paying attention to your children. Always, always, always. So I'm here working, and I'm focused, and my oldest comes up to me and says, "Daddy, do camels have 5 fingers like us or 4 like the dog?" I'm like, "I don't know, bud. Go ask your mom." He goes, "Oh, I don't need to. I'll just get the iPad and look up camel toes." It's 2. I'm a bad father. I support my children and my habit of thespianism with drug money. Don't judge me. Lots of people sell drugs to support a habit. It all started with my grandfather, actually. He owned a farm, a ranch, a cattle ranch. And when my father was 18, my grandpa said, "Dave, just do a career where you can assist me on the ranch." He goes, "Okay." So he went to school, scanned the document, and checked the box that said farm assist. And that's when my family started doing drugs. Now, if you didn't know already, I kind of had the mentality of a 10-year-old. So I'm intensely amused by the bowel prep products and the laxatives. And I like this one, Miralax, short for miracle laxative, I guess. I just wish I could have been on that ad campaign. Miralax for a divine colorectal evacuation. Seriously. Holy shit. 1 capful of Miralax a day can keep your output silky smooth. But an entire bottle in one day could get Congress to pass clean legislation. Another bowel prep product I like is called Movie Prep, but that's not a very good name. I mean, you do put on a show, but you're not going to win an Oscar. If Jeff Daniels didn't win an Oscar for Dumb and Dumber, then you're not getting one. Although if you have an Oscar already, that's good. And while you're doing your business, you have a little gold statue to chew on. Oh, here's probably my favorite. It's probably the most moving name. Thank you. I hate puns typically. But the most moving name, Go Lightly. Not exactly, no. Only in the state of irony do you go lightly. In truth, you should have your loved ones wear a hazmat suit. Because this shit works. The colonoscopy, I hear, is not that big of a deal. You go to sleep, you wake up, the deed is done. Kind of like a date with Bill Cosby. Now, say what you want, I feel bad for Bill. You would think as a performer, he would understand the value of timing. I mean, he was drugging these poor girls, doing his business, and then trying to pay them hush money. Bad timing. Number 1, pay the money. Get consent, pay the money. Number 1. Then offer drugs. Then do your Fat Albert impression. Hey, hey, hey! I call this one chocolate cake for breakfast. And that's nutrition. Thank you, Dr. Huxtable. The moral of that story, Bill Cosby, morals. The moral of that story, timing is everything. Here's another drug name that amuses me. The generic for Proscar. Now, I'll explain a little bit. Proscar is a go-to treatment for benign prostate hyperplasia. The generic chemical is pronounced finasteride, which means if the nurse you're talking to is a lovely Georgia peach or anywhere else south of the Mason-Dixon line, the call could sound something like this. Yes, give Kevin one fine ass to ride every day to treat his prostate. How many refills? Oh, just do it one time, then F you. No, relax. F you is jargon. It just means the doctor needs a follow-up visit. And if you take any medicine, you know how it's been the last while. The doctors are required to have you come in for more follow-up visits. And it's a multifaceted question. I mean, it's got something to do with the added insurance, circumstances, the government regulations, and beach houses don't just pay for themselves. It all makes perfect sense anyway. We cannot, in this country, ever have rational, responsible adults buying things that they want without paying someone else for permission. Come on. Where do you think you are, in a free country? Whatever. Now, as a pharmacy technician, I have the privilege of participating in some of the best phone calls in the history of planet Earth. I called one phone tree at a clinic, and this is a quote exactly as it sounded to me. Thank you for calling. If you are in crisis, push 1 to be transferred to our crisis hotline. If this is an emergency, hang up and call 911. The meaning of words means a lot to me, so it's a 5-minute interrogation of the nurse to get the delineation between crisis and emergency. The nearest I could tell is if you think you're dying, push 1, and if you're actually dying, hang up and call somebody else. And the inbound calls can be even better. Like, hello? Yeah, I'm out of my oxycodone early, and I'm going out of town, and my dog ate some, and he dumped the rest down the toilet. Okay? It's like, can I get him filled early just one time? Look, man, in a freer country, sure. But in the United States, when you're out of those meds early, you got to take the day off work, miss out on that money, pay the doctor $150 for an attempt to have him or her put their license on the line to get you more medicine. You better talk fast too, because statistically, the average doctor will interrupt you after about 35 seconds. I am sorry. He's like, well, if I can't get my hands on those, I'm going to have to use heroin. That's not recommended. But honestly, it's pretty reasonable. And if you think about it, the only real gateway drug to heroin is government regulation. Can't get your hands on them, what do you got to do? Stop the pain. At least we're still the 20th freest country in the world. It could be worse. And then he says, oh, well, can I talk to the pharmacist? Yes. Hold the line, I'll get him for you. Line 2. Felony request. And the calls just keep coming. Like, hello? Yes. I am on opiates. And I think it's causing me to be a little constipated. Is there something else I can take? I do have answers for you, but the pharmacist has to answer that question, ma'am. Hold the line. Line 1 wants to be euphoric and regular. Do you want me to have her call back in a few minutes so it can be number 2? No? All right. Now, as a pharmacy technician, I believe laughter is the best medicine. Unless the diagnosis is erectile dysfunction. Because we all know the last thing we guys need to hear in the bedroom is, oh my gosh. Okay, try the profile. Okay, put him back on. Let's go to dinner. We'll try this again another time. Now, I had a guy that came in the store and asked for his ED cocktail. And I thought, you have an erectile dysfunction cocktail. That must be the very definition of a stiff drink. So I look it up on the computer. The doctor had this guy on Cialis, Levitra, and Viagra, all rolled into one liquid. Why liquid? I don't know. Maybe so it absorbs more quickly, or his wife could spike his beverages. I don't know. And he was embarrassed, and some guys are. This is actually a more common problem than you may think. I get to touch it every day. I deal with it every day. Oh man, I got myself between a rock and a hard place here. It's very common. And this guy was embarrassed. And I said, man, don't be embarrassed, just own it. It's the best thing to do. Just tell your sweetie, you know it takes a lot of solid fuel to get that NASA space shuttle into orbit, right? Call me Sputnik. Launch is scheduled for T-minus 22 minutes. So can we get some of the cuddling in now? There's kind of a playoff game later on. Now, it's okay to have things wrong with you. We all do. We're humans. We're going to wear out and die pretty soon, all of us. And I have something wrong with me, and I'll tell you about it a little bit. It's a reading thing, which is difficult to deal with. So when I read something, like a one-sentence slogan, for example, my brain will jumble it up and turn it into a sales pitch for Viagra. It's a hard thing to deal with. The doctors aren't sure if it's genetic or environmental. But for example, what happens? I'll be driving down the freeway, and I'll see a nice Brigham Young University billboard. And my brain will make it say, Viagra, rise and roar. Or a Burger King billboard, Viagra, home of the Whopper. Or a Kenny Rogers Roasters billboard, on Kenny Rogers Viagra, it's the wood that makes it good. There's a small hospital chain in Salt Lake, and I see their billboard, and my brain makes it say, Viagra, not bigger, just better. Your emergency wait time is less than 30 minutes. Now this is everywhere. I'll open a magazine, like Viagra, render her speechless. Viagra, strong enough for a man, but made for a woman. Viagra, it takes a licking and keeps on. All right, thanks, Timex. You get the point. And I can't even go to like the grocery store without giggling like a mental health patient. Everyone has these t-shirts with a slogan across the front, and my brain can't help itself. Viagra. For a small guy, I'm a big deal. Or Viagra, go big or go home. Or Viagra, when failure is not an option. Movies do this to me as well. Like I'll turn on Harry Potter and, all right, Hermione, show us your new spell. Here we go, Harry. Wingardium Leviosa. Viagra is magic. Or the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. Oh, no, Alice. I shouldn't even try Viagra. Although it's been years since I fudda-whacking with the Jabberwocky. Or the great George Lucas classic, Luke, take this tablet. Now the Force will be with you always. Hold on, I only want the saber fight to last about 15 minutes. Then these aren't the pills you're looking for. Move along. Move along. Television commercials do this also. Go with National Viagra, so you can go like a pro. Or Viagra, for when you've fallen and you can't get up. Or on Viagra, you're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it. And after Viagra, you're gonna need a ShamWow. Sorry, Mom, that was gross. Music lyrics do this to me as well. And it might do it to you moving forward. This could be an infectious disease. Try not thinking of the little blue pill from Pfizer the next time you turn on the radio and hear, I came in like a wrecking ball. I never came so hard in love. I really think I broke your walls. Forgive me. If you don't like the pop stuff, try the rock station. I can't get no satisfaction. Or the Disney station. For he's a bit of a fixer-upper. So he's got a few flaws. But if there's a Viagra theme song, it would have to come from the country station. Wouldn't it? Somewhere between Alan Jackson and Randy Travis. 'Cause I took Viagra, now I'm gonna love you forever and ever again. 'Cause it's all right to be little bitty. Just pop a little tablet when you're out about the city. Might as well share, might as well smile. 'Cause life goes on for a little bitty while. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you letting me finish. I obviously can't tell these jokes in church. But Viagra does crush at retirement homes. After about half an hour, everyone gives a standing ovation. I just remember, everything's hard at first. The Viagra comes later. And the slogan thing, it doesn't always work. I find that Viagra, because it doesn't always work. Hashtag no hard feelings. Hashtag don't stop believing. Hashtag try this tablet. Hashtag harder than Chinese algebra. Hashtag best bang for your buck. And now you don't have to tweet by yourself. I was told one time that if I don't watch the things I say, that I was destined for hell. Or I believe what he says in part, because we can all do better. But I had a vision recently, and if that is any indication, there's no way I'm destined for hell. I'm going to earn it. So I came to the pearly gates. St. Peter looked back at me with those loving eyes and says, "There's no way on earth you are getting into heaven." That totally broke my heart. Sean Connery as St. Peter? What a horrible casting decision. Now, Ian McKellen, that would have been much better. You know, a doofus like me comes and tries to get into heaven and he says, "You shall not pass." But I was stuck with the Sean Connery version. So I said, all right, come on. Why can I not go past your gate of oyster balls? And he says, "It's all that naughty language you used in life. You were a naughty lad." I said, "Excuse me. I've heard other people talk. I think I'm pretty good with my tongue." And he says, "Yes, so I've heard. We'll review that as well. C'est l'amour." And he says, "Oh, by the way, don't use any more French words or phrases." No French? Come on, everyone loves French. We all remember this one. Alouette, gentille alouette, alouette, je te plumerai. And then he goes, "And what do the lyrics mean?" I think, "Lark, gentle lark, lark, I will pluck you." Like I said, don't use any more French words or phrases. All Frenchies go straight down. May we please continue with the interview? So we reviewed my mortal actions, and I had to stop him. I said, "I'm sorry, Sean, St. Peter. These are not all my fault. I was incited to profane. Like, even in hockey has 2 minutes in the penalty box for instigating a fight. And look, I'm working with government programs, I'm golfing. And sometimes Santa brought gifts where some assembly was required." Who's not going to cuss a little bit in these circumstances? And he goes, No, you needed to learn to bridle that tongue. You need to put the bridle back in the barn and listen. Santa brought that Barbie Corvette 2 hours after midnight on Christmas morning, which should be fine, but 2 hours after I started working on that thing, it still looked like a stripped El Camino up on cinder blocks. Vulgar profanity. Now my daughter's never going to learn to drive and always need a chauffeur. Oh, and working in the pharmacy. I've never cussed more in my life. And in addition, you lose faith so quickly. After about 5 years, my faith in humanity was shot. And after about 10 years, my faith in God was a little shaken. And my faith in government programs was gone after about 15 minutes. And for my pièce de résistance, I never had a hole-in-one in life. But that one Saturday morning, I put my tee shot 3 inches from the cup. And I thought I did a pretty good job controlling my tongue up to that point. The real blue smoke didn't come until 5 putts later. I think I ended up just throwing the damn clubs in the river and going home. Salut. And he says, "You see, it's that anger right there that's caused you to be a damned idiot. And by my count, you're way over your French quota. So it's time for you to go to hell." Shit! C'est la vie. So St. Peter hailed me a cab, piloted by Bin Laden, which was very interesting. So I'm sitting there riding and saying, "So, Bin, do you like this gig?" Chit-chatting with Bin Laden. He says, "Oh, yes, it is very good. After my first 10,000 years, I get one of my testicles back." All right. Well, I have to be honest with you. The day that SEAL Team 6 busted you and killed you and buried you at sea, that was pretty awesome for me. And he goes, "That did not really happen." Are you telling me the U.S. government would lie to us? And he says, "Oh, come on. If you don't count the White House press secretary, it is not that often." Only once or twice a week. Okay, well, fine. Now I'm hugely curious. What happened? I must know. He says, well, the U.S. government captured me and tortured me for information. And then they kept me in a cell for about 5 years. And anyone whose family members were affected by 9/11 or terrorism since 9/11 was given an opportunity to come to my cell and kick the shit out of me. In the end, they soaked me in jet fuel and launched me as part of the New York City 4th of July fireworks display. I was in the finale. It's all I ever wanted, you know, to go out with a bang. Say what you want about him, but bin Laden was a very nice conversationalist. So he drops me off in hell. And I get to spend my time with a myriad of Frenchmen and French ladies, which is not so bad. I thought, yeah, I need to sell some of these French girlies on shaving those underarms. And it was actually pretty great. I got to spend my nights sitting around a campfire, telling dirty jokes with George Carlin and Richard Pryor. The MC was Robin Williams. This could be worse. Viva la France! Muchachos! I'm American, I don't know much French. Sorry, I barely know English. But I think I'll fit right in because I've been told I'm pretty good with my tongue. So I turned to George and said, all right, I got to admit, he doesn't have the best rep on earth. But I'd kind of like to meet the big guy, you know, the boss. And George says, he's never here. He's always in Washington, D.C., helping to write the federal regulations. Oh, hell. Well, all right, well, what do we do tomorrow? Same thing as every day. 10 hours in a pharmacy, billing prescriptions to insurance companies. Shit. Is that all? Nope. 2 hours mandatory service in Santa's workshop putting together Barbie Corvettes. Damn it! Do we ever get a break from this stupid schedule? Yeah. 1 day a week, you get the whole day off to go golfing. If you can go the other 6 days without using any curse words. Son of a bitch. Now we're in the age of fact-checking. And a show like this is in hyperbole a lot of the time. I'm exaggerating for the sake of fun. So I don't have to wake up to a fact-checking article tomorrow. You need to know, at no point did my wife and I ever plot the death of a family member. They're here, and that was just a joke. We love you guys. Number 2, too chicken to go through with the vasectomy. Still firing live rounds. And that means we could be around the corner from another life lesson. Did you start? Yes? Woohoo! Okay, sorry. So, and here's another one. This is really bad. There's no way an entire bottle of Miralax could get Congress to pass clean legislation. Nothing could get Congress to pass clean legislation. And even at the outskirt chance of a remote skirt of a chance that Congress did pass clean legislation, no self-loving president would sign that into law. Like, this doesn't buy any votes. Veto. And the reason that is we are all living in a sequel. And like all good sequels, it's got to be bigger, better, and badder than the original. So the next time you think about it, just go read about the crash of the Roman Empire. And then tune in for the end of this movie, because it's gonna be huge! One final fact check. If you are wondering, the answer is absolutely yes. In the afterlife, bin Laden is Indian. And on that note, the show's over. I guess I'll see you guys in hell. What did you think?
A little much on the solo.
Really? I liked it. But okay, let's try it again from the top. And you heard him, Dallin. Not so much on the guitar solo this time.